just to reiterate, just in case someone missed it, what were your favorite parts of the reunion that were not shown? And can you go into a little bit detail? Because, you know, Andy said, I fought for 4 parts, as if that answered the issues we were having with him. But that's another topic for another time. But yes, I would just like to know favorite parts that we missed.
Okay, so favorite parts that we missed. Let's see. Well, I will say that I wish it was 4 parts as well, but that still would have been just like very heavy on me. I mean,
right.
I was in the hot seat a lot, and I handled it though. You know,
you did.
Thank you. But I think my favorite part's not seen. I mean, there's not many because I felt like I was being attacked like the entire 11 hours that we were sitting there. I did enjoy Giselle's meltdown, where she literally turned into an orange pumpkin and exploded. And she was like, yeah! But as an actual F word. It's just like somebody just popped her and it just, bam, all the demons started screaming outside of her. You know?
Yes.
It was insane. And my husband was like, just asking a question. Like, have you talked about my child on camera? Everybody else said no. You got to her. And she basically snitched on herself. So she exploded and said, F you! And my husband laughed. He got up. And then that's when he walked out and said, I play chess, not chess.
Okay, which we love. We love all of Chris's moments during the reunion. For me, I was loving all of the moments that were like checkmate and I'm out. Like he dropped the mic a few times. So to piggyback off of that, her meltdown, did you want to beat her ass when she was yelling at Chris? Because I was just like, if that was my husband, it would have been hard for me to stay seated.
Oh, listen, I was doing a lot of yelling back. And I was like, you ain't going to be arguing with my husband. I had to say that a few times. My husband is not going to be arguing with any woman outside of me. That's my job.
Right.
So I've said that over again. And also I've been said, you know, don't be yelling at my husband. That's why you're over there by yourself now. Can't keep mad because you don't know how to talk to nobody. So, yeah, I was definitely, you know, making it known, don't be coming at my husband like this. They were, like, literally not even letting him talk. And then when Andy came on to be quiet, they listened. And then he was able to speak.
The white man said something. Excuse me. Sorry. Sorry, that's the mind frame we in right now. I'm so glad that Juan Dixon wasn't there.
Oh my God!
Actually do something about this entire show.
Look, is Jamal coming?
Listen,
And I'm not coming.
I'm mad at I had my shirt because I thought I had down here my biased and unbothered shirt because they kept calling us biased the entire time we were doing the reviews. If we had any inkling of understanding for your point of view,
exactly.
we were biased. We were being paid, and I'm like, child, the way I'm stressed out right now, I don't win.
Okay.
So, like we were saying, Juan Dixon, what do you think might have happened if Juan Dixon was at the reunion? And do you think they will ever get married?
Nothing would have happened if he was there. I mean, what would have happened? What could possibly have happened? Nothing. He would have said it. You know?
He would have been standing still like that security.
Okay.
Absolutely nothing would have happened. So, I mean, it made no difference whether he was there or not. And do I think they're going to get married? I really don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I know that some people will do whatever they need to do to stay on the show. So maybe they will get married.
Okay. So, my last question, I wanted to change. We had some discussions about my previous question. So, I just wanted to completely wipe that out and ask a question about marriage. So, because I've been married for going on 4 years now, y'all.
Congrats.
And when people tell you this shit ain't easy, they mean it. They mean it.
Yeah.
So my question is, how do you fall in love over and over again with your husband?
Yes. So this is what, to me, the most important thing that you have to recognize in your relationship. There are certain times of the year where you're bumping heads. There's certain times of the year where you're just busy. there's certain times in the year where you get those butterflies and you're just like, oh my God, I just want to be up under you. And then there's certain times of the years where you're just like, I'm over it. I want to be out. For real. It's tough. And once you recognize that those emotions come in phases, then you recognize why you're feeling whatever you're feeling, and you're able to just say, oh, wait, it's that time of the year. That's what that is. Okay. And then you just kind of, you get through the motions. But it happens to all of us. It's inevitable. You're seeing each other every day, you know, so there's going to be arguments. There's going to be little buttons being pushed. And then there's going to be times where you're just absolutely in bliss and you're just like, can't keep your hands off each other. So, but it does take work and effort. It like anything else. It really does. And it takes work on both parts. It's very hard when only one person's trying, or if neither are trying. And y'all are just like sitting there like, okay, what we going to do? And me and my husband go through that all the time. Sometimes we're just like, okay, he's making the effort. Then sometimes I'm making the effort. And then sometimes neither one of us are. And we're just like going through the motion, being great parents, but not really being great in our marriage. So it's like a roller coaster, honestly. And the thing that keeps you together is being on the same page. And recognizing that, hey, I'm just at that part where I really ain't feeling right now. I'm being real and keeping that communication open. And then when you're having those moments where, you know, sometimes you got to force yourself out of it and say, you know what, let me compliment him for what he did today. You know, thank you so much for helping with the kids. Like, you were on it. You know, you look real good in that shirt. You know, you got to do that. You got to compliment every little, and hopefully he does the same. But you'll get through it. Me and Chris are almost 9 years in this year. And I mean, we've been together total almost 15 years. So,
and we've been together like a decade. So,
wow.
It's been longer than the marriage years, and people always forget about that. But I feel like it's a part of it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh yes,
you know what I mean? But
absolutely.
That was great. I needed to hear that. So I'm glad I changed my question. Go ahead.
Those were actually really good questions. I can't relate to the marriage one because I can barely stay committed to a job. So, or I venture off into somebody else's gosh, I have to put you on the spot because I asked your brother the same question.
Okay.
I wanted to know from your perspective, you know, obviously, you know Monique better than anybody here, anybody who's seen her on TV. So how does it affect you personally watching your sister be painted out to be something that you know she's not, you know, seeing thousands of people talk mess every Sunday about her? How does that make you feel personally? Because even though Monique is the person center, you go through it together as a family. So how do you feel about things like that?
I mean, it makes me really angry. Just like Kevin said, sometimes I have to let a few weeks go by before I actually watch the episode or watch the reunion because I've taken it personal.
Right.
And Candace is lucky I wasn't there because she probably would have got jumped, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, if my sister's fighting, I'm fighting. That's how I go.
Facts. You're not going to touch her. You're going to go through me first. So, good luck.
Alrighty.
But I mean, it was fun to watch her and see her on TV. I enjoyed that. But when it gets personal, that's when I'm like, hold on now. And I got to remind myself that it is a TV show, but you know, it's real life to me. So you come from my sister, you come from me.
I definitely wish we saw more of the sibling dynamic between you guys and your brother, because I feel like that what the show lacked. You know, we want to see those family moments. But
I want to say something about that because every single year that I've been on this show, that I was on the show, I filmed with all of my family members. And a lot of it didn't make it because we have too much fun. So, like, we've had moments where, I mean, my brother and my sister were telling me their coming out story. And apparently, my brother sent me a letter coming out to me that I never received. So for years, I'm like, okay, well, maybe he's just not ready to have the conversation with me. And then he's thinking that I'm avoiding having the conversation with him. And I was just like, all right, well, whatever. It wasn't until on camera, filming season 2, my first season, that we discovered that he never told me, and I never mentioned it because I was being respectful of him. And he was like,
well, what was the defining moment during part 3 of the reunion that made you say, you know what, enough's enough, I'm out of here. I can't do this anymore?
That's actually a great question. And I had the pleasure of speaking with 2 of my VPs this week, one from Bravo and one from Truly. And they're actually 2 people who I consider friends. So it was nice to catch up with them and who asked me that question. What was my breaking point? Because, you know, I had just been asked back for season 6, which I wasn't expecting. I thought that I was going to be fired. I honestly believed that after last week. So when they called and they offered me back, I was like, I just sat on the phone. They were like, "Are you excited?" I said, "Yeah, I am excited." And they were like, "I'm not excited." I said, "Because I thought y'all were going to fire me." So they started laughing and they were like, "No, we would love for you to come back. You know, it's going to be a long road ahead of us, but we believe we can, you know, push through." So I was excited about it. So when I had the conversation with them, I explained to them that I understood the fact that I had 19 episodes that were heavy on me, the whole season, very heavy on me. When you get to reunion, I felt as though that should have been vindication for me, just not for one part, but for all parts where I should have been vindicated. If you can go in on me for 19 whole episodes, you can vindicate me for 3 reunion episodes. Let me have my moment, and all the people who have been hiding behind their hate and doing really ruthless, raw, nasty things, expose them. Let people see what they've really been up to. Let people see what the real full story is. And I was very disappointed when I saw my husband and I live, and that was featured on the reunion, which was not a part of the show. But then argue back and forth with me about the incident involving my child and saying, well, that didn't air, that wasn't a part of the show.
Right.
What? It should be equal. If you're going to show Chris and I going live, which was a response, as I said last week, to Candace's live, then show her live too. Because in her live, she actually admitted that there was a plot. She said, I was there for it. She said all of that out of her own mouth. Nobody put a gun to her head. Nobody made her do that. Me and her weren't even cool when she went live for her to even tell that truth. So when you show a half of a story and then try to paint a picture as if my husband and I purposely wanted this as a part of some type of storyline, I call BS and I call deuces and I'm out. So that was it.
That makes sense. I mean, that would have been the final moment for me too. And what I didn't understand is if they're going to show your response and Chris's response to Candace's live, but that wasn't on the show. Why are you showing something that wasn't on the show? I don't get it. It made no sense.
Right.
It made no sense.
Exactly.
All right. So my next question is, had the fight not happened, what would viewers have seen of your storyline? Because we never got to see, much of your storyline after the fight.
And everybody, whoever's not talking, if y'all can mute your mic, this way it's not cutting over top of everybody. So basically, it was frustrating because I felt as though my story should not have been limited to the fight. I felt as though it should also show what really happens in real life when you have something crazy go down, but then you have to get back to mommy mode, business mode. I was doing live shows. I had live shows scheduled. I actually had a Essentials 101 workshop that I was going to be hosting. It was a lot going on with my business, even with my kids. What else did I have going on? There was a lot of other things happening, and it was basically, it got down to the point where it was just like, either talk about the fight or we ain't showing you doing anything. So I'm still moving on real life. I'm still hands-on with my son at the time, who was about 9 months. I was still, with T'Challa. I'm still back to my routine. I'm just now adding in therapy sessions and everything else that needs to be added in and making sure I get adequate sleep and just trying to take a step back to really understand and process what happened. So I would have liked to see more of that journey and also showing me work hard with my live event. If you recall, my live event was in November 2 weeks. It was about 2 weeks after the incident. And I still had to put on a show in front of people where I initially wanted to cancel the show because I was just like, how do I get in front of these people and encourage them to redefine themselves? And I'm out here grown as I don't know what fighting. So I still had to push through and say, you know what? I'm going to do my live show. I'm going to get up there and be vulnerable. And it was an amazing show. But they only showed the end of my live event on the show, which is when there was like a Q&A. And the only time that fight or Candace came up was the only part of that entire 2.5 hour event that we put on. And it was beautiful. It was amazing. And actually, if you go to my Not For Lazy Moms YouTube channel, the whole show is there. You can kind of fast forward and skip through if you want, but it was some deep, powerful messages that were just about redefining yourself, going through tough times and everything else, and how do you come out? How do you deal with the process? So it was very impactful, and a lot of people left feeling just like relieved. They felt like they were full of good information, full of love, and it was great. So
I would definitely have loved to see that. I mean, they cut out all the good stuff.
Yeah, literally.
Oh, goodness. Okay, I have one more question. I'm not going to hold you.
No, that's okay.
I'm getting to the tea now. So the day after the fight, when you did that DSW event with Robin, did she ask, this is the day after the fight now, y'all, 24 hours, was she standoffish? Did she ask you, did she say, Monique, why was you fighting? Because in the meeting that y'all had at Karen's house, she was just like, I can't be around you.
So she actually, when she got there, it was a little weird. It was a little awkward. There was a lot of people there. So we never had the opportunity to even have a conversation. A lot of people there. So we never had the opportunity to even have a conversation, like at all. And it was funny because we have like a photographer who always comes on behalf of Bravo. All of us know him. And he just so happened to be the photographer for this event. So he walked in at the same time when I was kind of walking over towards Robin to say hi. And she just kind of looked at me and then she just hugged him and said hi to him. And I'm just standing there like, okay. And I was like, hey, Robin. And then I gave her a hug. She gave me a hug. And I was like, it was a crazy night. And she was like, yeah, it was. And then we were working. So we were like tag teaming, doing different things with the people that came out for the event. There was only a couple times where we were actually sitting together to take pictures, but we really didn't have the opportunity to like speak on it at all. But by the end of the night, I mean, we were being silly, taking pictures and just doing what we came to do. So I didn't really feel like outside of that awkward initial, like seeing her, it was no like, I need to get security. I need to get her away from me. It wasn't nothing like that. It was just awkward, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So she, that answers the question. So she pretty much was being phony over at Karen's house. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all of
She
them
had
were.
talked to Giselle first about how she felt before she actually felt that way.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. She had to get her marching orders in order. Mm-hmm. Okay, well that's all the questions I had. Thank you.
Let me ask a question to piggyback off that. Kyle, he was telling me that like he should be on the episode because you know he was such a part of what was going on the show. They mentioned other blogs. Why do you think that they didn't give any part for Black socialites?
I think because I think Sharice had a lot to do with that, honestly. She kept trying to paint a picture about Kyle as if he was this crazy blogger, but at one point, that was her BFF. So I really feel as though she was trying to shut him out and shut him down. And every time that they were mentioning whatever tea was being spilled or talked about, that was all Black socialite stuff, and they would not give him recognition for whatever reason.
Since we were talking about the event, you know, you seen Robin for the first time, and it was like a day after the fight. I wanted to go back to your cast shoots. What was the energy in that room? I know, obviously, you were speaking to the tissue box and whoever else, but like, what was your mindset going into that shoot? Because I believe the shoot was before the sit down at Karen. So, yeah, what were you feeling like? What was the energy in the room? Were there any precautions? Like, what was going on?
I didn't want to go to the shoot. The fight happened on a Wednesday. On Friday, I requested Bravo release me from my contract. I didn't want to be there. And we were in a situation where they responded and said, look, let's talk about this. We don't want you to not show up for the shoot because you get fined. So I still had to go because technically I was still under contract. But I wanted to be done. I didn't want to go. But I had to be a professional. I had to put my gown on. I had to come in there and do what I can. My lip was completely swollen from being busted in my face with a glass. So, I could not smile without my lip looking like it was on a slant. My lip
from the glass that nobody saw being swung your way.
Mystery glass that never hit me, but it hit me. And then in the reunion, they show it. That one. So, yeah, the gaslighting. Oh, my God. So, no, I definitely, I didn't want to be there. A lot of people was like, oh, Monique's mean mugging. I ain't had no choice but to mean mug. They were like, smile, Monique. I was like, no. And just served like that. No, but I basically, when I got there, all of us, we have our own, areas, and we always come at different arrival times whenever we're doing, group stuff. So they had the same security guy who was there the night of the fight who did absolutely nothing. That same dude was at this, shoot. So yeah, but they were trying to definitely ice me out even then. So we were back in the room, me and my makeup artist and my hairstylist, and it got real quiet. And I'm like, wait, are we supposed to be out there? Nobody came and got us to let us know that we were supposed to be heading out for the group shot. So I just walk up in there and they're like, oh, okay, let's place you. I'm like, okay. So I spoke to certain people, definitely wasn't speaking to, post it. But I spoke to everybody else and, it was just it was definitely some tension there. And you could tell a conversation was had because I remember Wendy calling me the day after the fight when we talked for 20 minutes and she was more understanding and just more girl, I've been there before, this, that, and the other, and she even said oh, when I used to get in fights, I looked at your eyes and I could tell you was with the SHIT. She was doing all of that talking and just I know you got egged on. She did all of that talking. And then a few days later, had hardly anything to say to me. And then once we get to Karen's house, the whole script was flipped. And that's when I realized, I said, okay, they must have had a little off-site meeting. Yeah. So that's about. So I started putting things together, and that was that.
Yeah, Wendy is such a follower. She disappointed me, in all honesty, because she did all of that talk about being an educated Black woman, and then when the reunion came and all of this stuff is happening and you're just sitting there not saying anything, are you not clocking?
Because she's scared. That was the whole plot. To me, that was the plot, was all of them getting against her for what reason? They had nothing to even do with that. The glass thing, all that stuff to me was so weird. It's are people not seeing the same that we're seeing? Because they made her the villain. Is what I feel like. They want to make Monique the villain. And I feel like that was so wrong. And I thought that Andy, to me, I'm sorry, it looked like all of them was some kind of different stuff, some kind of gang against her. The whole entire reunion and the whole half the season. It's so weird to me. After meeting the meeting that you allegedly said they probably had, something went on because the way they treated her to me was so wrong. I feel like that Candace to me, I feel like she's a whole child. She's a grown woman, but she's a whole child. And her thing was, I always feel like she was jealous of Monique, of everything that she won't ever be.
I believe
he knew something about the plot. That's why he was trying to push it to the side. Because I think he knew about the whole. He knew what was going to be said. Because I feel like he knew about the plot. Period.
I will say this. After the fight happened, I was telling my story verbatim. The moment where I had hesitation was in that stairwell when I was like, what just happened? Why is my face wet? I was asking questions and the producer was there. So when they flashed back to me in the car, that was an hour after the fight had happened. So by that time, I was putting all of the pieces together, recalling step by step what happened. From that moment on, my story remained the same. I never said that the glass is what started the fight. Never said that. My story remained the exact same, to the point where I'm talking to all of the different people, you know, execs and stuff like that. I'm talking to cast. I'm giving my story. Everybody is saying the same thing. That didn't happen. That didn't happen. For months this went on. And it wasn't until my attorney subpoenaed the footage that I saw what happened. And what I said happened was what happened. And even after that, I was still being told that it didn't happen. I was like, yo, y'all are about to make me pull my hair out. This is me. And it got to a point where I just had to let it go. And I said, I'm not talking about this anymore. I did talk to Andy after the fight. And when we had a conversation, I told him, I said, Andy, I'm telling you, this is what I remember happening. He said, well, I haven't seen the footage yet. He said, but if that's what you believe happened, then you need to stick to what you believe happened. He said, don't change up what you're saying because of what other people are telling you. He said, you stick to what you believe happened, and that's what you say. And that helped me, because just imagine, had I started listening to what they said, oh, you thought I was painting a villain? Oh, they would have had me, I would have been the devil. You know what I'm saying? And it's a far worse situation. The only reason I was able to just keep standing on my own 2 feet is because I was adamant about what I recalled. And I wasn't going to let any of them break me. And because they didn't get whatever they wanted from me, then it was just like, all right, well, we're done with you.
Right.
Shout out to Karen, because I feel like Karen probably was the only one that felt like, nah, it ain't as simple as, oh, you got attacked. See, I don't come from that school of thought that we get in each other's faces, and just because you got dragged, that means that you were attacked. Yeah, I don't come from that school of thought. That's the toss-up when you get into it with somebody and you get in their personal space. For me, I felt like as soon as she got closer, I was like, why you did that?
Right. Time together.
You're not backing away. You don't want to get beat up. Why are you not backing away? I'd have backed away if I didn't want to get beat up. But that's just me.
She was exactly to her that nobody's claw had her with her beer bottle on with wine bottle.
Face. I'm sorry. I'm just saying, if you're in my face at all, I know you obviously want to get knocked down. Period. Like, I'm sorry.
Yes, before we move on, I did want to thank, I believe her name is Lilia.
I have a quick question. Will we see you and your family back on TV? Maybe your own reality show? Something on YouTube? Anything?
That would be dope.
You know,
I like that.
I honestly don't know. I'm going to just be real. I don't want to be one of those reality TV people that, you know, left the show and then they're just like rushing to get back on TV. Like, you know, I just want to kind of just take this break and just like feel normal again. You know, it's been 4 years of high stress, and I didn't realize how much stress the show was causing me until I said I was done. And once I went live and I said, I'm over it, I'm done. That night, I slept like a baby. I woke up the next morning, and I felt like a free woman. I was like I'm a star, give us free.
I know that's right. I know that is right.
Wait. Side note, I told the chat that every time somebody donates, I'm going to take a shot for it.
Nobody knew it was coming. We were all just living our best lives, waiting for Monique to come back next season. Before you went live, was there, obviously the choice is yours, ultimately, but did you have a conversation with Chris before you went live on your decision and things like that?
Oh, absolutely. It's funny. Saturday, I watched the pre-screener, and I was livid. I was so irritated and pissed. I couldn't shake it. I was just that turned off. Me and my husband both. I was that turned off because, number one, my husband is a great person. He is the sweetest person you'll ever meet. He's the most laid-back person you'll ever meet. So for them to even try to paint a picture as if he's some aggressive monster, like, I was pissed at said that, T'Challa is like, every time I go live, he just, T'Challa.
That's my little baby boy. Bring him over here. Let me see how the little
Talk, because I'm talking.
he misses me.
Me, and then along with everything else that I already mentioned earlier. But the next morning, Sunday morning, I woke up and I just felt like I didn't have anything left to give to this show. I was just like, I'm over it. I'm done. So I wrote an email, which I ended up sending to all of the Bravo execs in the production company and their execs. And I sent that email. I saved it as a draft. I walked outside because I was in Florida with my family, my sister, my brother, my mom, and my aunt and uncle and everybody, my mom's boyfriend. I went outside and I said, listen to this. It was around like 4 or 5 o'clock. And I read them the email basically asking for me to be released. And they all just sat there like, so you're really leaving? I was like, yeah, I'm done. And they were like, okay, we support you. I started Housewives in Florida. I ended it in Florida. People don't know
I was just about to say that. They're like, oh, she doesn't mean it. She'll be back. She's having an emotional moment.
If they do that, they clearly don't know my Libra behind.
Okay. Show me that little check.
Exactly. She making her own little coin.
Look, I had this. Whenever she made her video, oh my God. People were calling, checking on me left and right. I was like, I'm okay, y'all.
Listen, I feel like the way you left was a mic drop as far as I'm concerned. Like, video, my new business, I'm out this bitch. Bye.
Right.
Like,
Right.
Absolutely. She said, I don't need that little check, and I meant it.
But let me say this as well. So last year, when 2 days after the fight, I asked to be released from my contract. They asked me to stay. We worked it out, and I stayed. I honestly felt like they were going to fire me. So I was like, okay, let me make sure I got all my stuff ready, locked and loaded, and roll it out right on time as the season rolls out. Even when I wrote my song in December, that part in the first verse where I said, now they tripping, but they will miss me. Am I tripping? I was talking about the fact that I felt as though I was going to be gone. Like, I thought that I was going to be gone. So I thought that I was going to end up getting fired. So I was just like, okay, they probably only asked me to come back because they want me to finish the season out, and I'll probably be gone next year. So that was my mindset. So I was making sure that I used my time wisely to tidy up all of my projects. Everybody knew about Not for Lazy Moms. They all know my love of essential oils. But they didn't know I was launching Mila Eve, and I was actually looking forward to, using that season 6 to be able to really promote that. But, God had another plan, and God always has another way.
But what I will say is I believe in God, and I'm a firm believer in everything does happen for a reason. Yeah, when you speak things into existence, it's going to happen one way or the other. You don't know how it's going to happen, but it will happen. And I feel like I was literally looking at your post when you said, now they flipping, but they will miss me. Even though in your mind you did not know you were leaving yet, I feel like everybody always knows when it's their time to go. And even though you were prepared to come back, I feel like, when the reunion aired, it somehow came full circle. Like, you already knew, like, maybe I gotta go. I don't know how I'm leaving, when I'm leaving, but I gotta go. And I think it is proof now. They're struggling to find somebody to replace you. You gave how many people a storyline?
She can't. They'll never be able to replace me. But they can try to find somebody to fill the shoe a little bit.
Because the storyboard now has to be scripted, because I know you coming back, what we were about to get right back into. The same thing we had season 5. So, I feel like, when you speak things into existence, it's going to happen one way or the other, but overall, it worked out in your favor because you're less stressed, you have time with your family, you're happy. So I feel like it was meant to happen. It really was.
Yep. What Beyonce said, she said, you're irreplaceable.
I did have an emotional moment because, I've been doing this for 4 years. I have made some beautiful friendships with the teams, and so when I had my call, I think that's when it finally hit me. Like, okay, I'm closing this chapter. So it was you know, it was confirmation for me, but it was also closure. And I was just like, okay, this is definitely the right move. And, you know, I love a lot of the people behind the scenes. Like, we become like family. They know everything behind the scenes, you know? So it's you know, it sucks. But at the same time, I do feel like I'm doing what is best for my family. And I still hope to maintain some of those good relationships, you know, and we'll see what goes from there.